Hey guys, quick little message before we get into this video. A request from Jarrad, who I'm interviewing in this video, has asked me to edit a couple little facts out pertaining to how he got his PTSD. So there's 3 times where I've muted our chat. That's just for him. Doesn't want to share that information with the world just yet, which is understandable. It won't take away from his message or his story. So I hope you still enjoy it, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. So let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by Jarrad, one of my biking brothers from the beard struggle, and here to talk about his struggles, his triumphs with his dealing with his mental health. So Jarrad, welcome. Please introduce yourself to my viewers.
How you going, Luke? Thanks for having me on the show as well, by the way, man. Well, as you know, I'm Jarrad, beard struggle, brand Viking, 26 years old, struggling with my mental health since I was about 7 years old. Had a lot of ups and downs, but here to talk about it, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I'm happy, you put your hand up to come and tell your story. I know it's hard, especially for a lot of men. We get taught to, not talk about our feelings and our emotions and our mental health, that, we should bottle it up. So, coming forward and asking, you want to be on this channel is really courageous in my eyes. So we'll just get into it. So what's your diagnosis?
Okay, so I was originally diagnosed with depression clinically when I was 7 years old. I grew up in a really, really bad household. A lot of drugs, a lot of violence. My mother was into prostitution and all that kind of stuff. She's not a very nice human being. And then when I was 12 years old, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And then along with that came my anxiety and my hypersensitivity, which for people that don't know what hypersensitivity is, it's basically you feeling heightened emotions, which obviously can suck, especially if you're feeling anxious or really down. It makes it feel 10 to 20 times worse. And then wasn't not too long, was very recently that I got also diagnosed with hypervigilance, which is the constant state of always thinking something is going to go bad, and the constant feeling of danger. And then just this year, I got diagnosed with ADHD and autism, which obviously wasn't a very big diagnosed thing back when I was in school. So they missed it a lot of the time and just sort of wrote it off as learning, just learning issues kind of thing.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Sorry to hear all that. That's not what a child should go through. So you talk about being diagnosed with depression at 7 years old. That's pretty big. Like, it's very hard. Kids' emotions are up and down all the time. It's how they grow and learn. So to actually have that really speaks volumes of pretty much the hell you went through um, in your childhood. So, and I don't wish that on my worst enemy. That's pretty bad. So, you said you were 26, so that's 19 years that you've been dealing with your mental health, and that blows me away. That you have fought this for 19 years, and you're here sitting here talking to me about it. How did you get through it? How have you lasted 19 years dealing with all this stuff?
Well, when I was 7, I first got diagnosed with it. I didn't really understand what depression was. Like, as a kid, how you meant to really understand what depression is, kind of thing. So when I was young, they put me on a medication called Prozac, Not sure if you heard of that one or not. And that made me incredibly suicidal as a child. So they took me off of that and then put me on something called Luvox, which worked a lot better. But big side effect for me was when it started making me feel, and I sort of started suppressing my emotions. I felt kind of like a robot from the age of 8 and up until I was about 10 or 11 years old. And then I decided I didn't want to take medication anymore. So I stopped taking the medication and kind of just dealt with the feelings of constantly feeling secluded and alone. And then that's when I got hit with really, really bad anxiety. And I was going to school and I used to get bullied a lot for that. And then my grandfather passed away all within the same year. Because he'd been fighting prostate cancer, and then after he finished his radiation with prostate cancer, he ended up getting throat cancer, and that's what took his life. And then when I hit about 14 years old, I think that's when depression really started to take massive hold of my life, kind of thing, especially with my post-traumatic stress disorder. Constantly waking up in the middle of the night. Random flashes out of nowhere. It's really hard to explain to people that don't have post-traumatic stress, what it feels like to have a random episode out of nowhere. And so more or less, I didn't really attempt to deal with my mental health in any way. I just sort of let it be and let it fester, which is obviously not a good thing for someone to do. And then when I was 15 years old, I tried to commit suicide. By overdosing on my antidepressant medication, and I ended up in hospital, and I went to the Nexus Mental Hospital in Sydney, and I was there for about 3.5, 4 months before I was released. And then I went for another 2 years going through, had to go to counseling, see a psychologist, and they put me on a whole plethora of different medications trying to make me feel that little bit better. None of it really worked because, me personally, I'm not a big advocate for psychiatrists or counselors, because a lot of them, I've noticed, they all try and find that middle ground to try and relate to you, and no one can really relate to your personal experiences. As much as they're trying to help, no one can say, oh yeah, I understand 100% what you've been through. So for me, it was easier to just do everything by myself. And then it wasn't not too long after that my girlfriend at the time, she passed away in a car accident. And then that's when I did another 2 attempts on my own life and got locked up in Nexus Mental Hospital for 6 months this time. And that's not a good time, because if anyone that hasn't been to a mental hospital before and been on like a level 3 watch where they tie you to a bed and they force feed you your medication and you're not allowed anything in your room, no personal effects, no belongings. It's just kind of like a hospital room and doctors watching you around the clock. It's not very nice. You don't get any privacy. You can't really talk to people about it because no one wants to hear that you're a mental case, essentially. And then once I got out, I decided I didn't really ever want to go back to a mental hospital again, because, who wants to go to a mental hospital? They're not nice places to be in. So I started trying to get my life on track. So I decided to join the military. And then while I was in the military, I got discharged because of my mental health. I had a mental break during one of their training exercises, which is learning to deal with interrogation. So once I did that, I didn't really know where I was going to go, because I invested my whole life into wanting to be in the military, being a soldier and all that kind of stuff, trying to give my life to. For me, that felt like purpose, essentially, was joining the military and going and serving my country. And then I randomly lost all that purpose, and I kind of just drifted for a little while, and became a really, really bad alcoholic, and I drank myself stupid for three or 4 months. Don't remember 2 months of it at all. But then after I decided to get off the alcohol altogether and quit drinking, I've never used drugs in my life. I've never smoked either. So I've been completely straight edge for, 8 years now.
Wow, that's massive. That's a lot of strength. So condolences, and Wow, what a emotional story. I could see you're getting a bit emotional just talking about it.
Yeah.
You've gone through a lot. So 3 attempts at suicide.
Well, I had a fourth one
I
when I
thought,
was about 19. When I was 19 years old. Um, that was when I hit a real low point, and I ended up homeless because I lost my job. I got in a car accident. I didn't have a car anymore, so I couldn't make it to and from work. I ended up getting fired from my job. Couldn't pay my bills or anything like that, so I decided to take a knife to my inner thigh. I didn't get my artery, but I died on the table in the hospital, and I was dead, legally dead for 2 minutes.
wow.
And then I ended back up in Nexus again, which wasn't fun. And they weren't going to let me out. When they did finally let me out, they let me out on Lexapro medication, which is a little bit weaker, but it helped keep my emotions in check. I ditched my psychiatry appointments because I didn't want to go to them because they suck. And then I found who was my first ever head chef and one of my best friends and my only father figure ever was my head chef, Luke Carpenter. I went to be a dish pig. And we're in a really, really busy night. We were stuck in the shit kind of thing. Sorry if I can't swear.
No, swear all you want, mate. It's all good.
And then, he ended up pulling me into the kitchen. He's like, all right, look, I'm short on staff. I need to go do these. Here's photos of what they look like. Just do your best. And I fell in love with the craziness of it all. You know, the swearing, the yelling, throwing things at each other was amazing. Absolutely loved it. So then I did that for 9 years. 9 years I was a chef. And it wasn't until recently having my son, just after getting married to my now wife. And then, I don't know if anyone's ever worked as a chef before, but when you're working 90 to 100 hours a week with a newborn baby, it doesn't work very well. So I quit chefing out of that, and currently on my way to start training to become private security, which should be really, really good. And yeah, my only way of really battling mental health is to find outlets. Like I found martial arts to be a really, really great outlet as well. Conversing with other people about their experiences and finding that you're not alone. Not everyone's been through the same things, but you're not alone at the same time. Like I've got good guys like you, the other TBS guys, a few other chefs that have all been through very, very similar things. And that's sort of pretty much essentially what got me through. And now I've got my son. So now I'm like, I can't die yet. Gotta wait till he's old and married, and I've got some grandkids before I can go.
Wow. I don't know where to start with this one, Jarrad. That's a lot. Like, I know myself, I've been through a little bit, I've got PTSD, depression, anxiety. I have the hypersensitivity and hyper alertness too with my PTSD. But wow, if I ever thought I went through hell, you pretty much had land right there. You're a lord there. That was amazing. And like you said, yes, we have very similar diagnosis, you and me, but our experiences are totally different. And that's what it's all about. And that's one of the reasons I do this this channel, is to let people tell their story like you and let other people know, okay, this is what's happening. I can kind of feel this is where I'm kind of at, and they can go help. I do see psychiatrists every 6 or 8 weeks. I'm not a big fan of psychiatrists because they just want to give you medication, but it's just something I've got to do. But I can understand what you're saying about how you don't like seeing psychiatrists and psychologists, and some do feel that way. But I'm glad that you didn't just say, no, I can deal with it myself. You found other ways to deal with it. And, you brought up martial arts. That is a massive one. And even for myself, I've just signed up to go do some karate again, which I haven't done in 20 years, to help fight my depression and my PTSD. So, That's awesome. Army. When did you join the army?
So I decided to start training for the military when I was around 16, because I don't know what it was. Every kid, every teenage guy sees military movies and they're like, yeah, I want to do that. So then I started training up really, really hard, and I wanted to go join the SAS, be special forces, all that kind of good stuff. And so the best way to go for special forces was to go and become a commando straight up. So I went and I applied. I got into the military. I got into my basic training, and I got almost all the way through my basic training before they discharged me.
What year was that?
I wasn't in it. Sorry?
What year?
Oh, okay. So I was 17. God, I'm 26 now. That was
9 years.
9 years ago now. So yeah, that was back like 2011, 2012.
2011, 2012. Yeah, because I was a medic in the army. So,
right, okay, awesome.
Yeah, 2011, I was at Oki, so just west of Toowoomba.
Yep.
Hence why I live near Toowoomba now, because I fell in love with Toowoomba when I was there. 2012, I was actually overseas in Timor.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but yeah, well, I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. And, when you were talking about it, I'm just like, we've been talking for, 2 months now. I did not even know, like, obviously, you didn't finish basic because of your mental health. And, I'm sorry that happened, because, a lot of my stuff came from the army, and, there's a lot of bad times in that last year. But for the rest of it, it was a really good experience. And, I wish that you were able to get past that. But at the same time, I think it was good for you to get that, have something to go for to keep you going. And then, afterwards, I know it affected you big, but I think even that little snippet that you did would have helped and made you where you are today.
Oh God, yeah. Just the training and the discipline of it all. I know, like, I loved it. I loved the structure. Like, having autism myself, I enjoy structure. That's one of my big things. I like OCD, so that was a beautiful fit for me, kind of thing. Going in and having to do the same thing, and everything always needed to be the same, needed to be perfect at all times, was amazing. I'm the same even now with at home with my wife. She hates my OCD with a passion. I've always got all my clothes to be ironed and pressed and folded in certain drawers. She doesn't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man, it's certainly amazing. Like you said, you're getting into karate as well. Like that's awesome. Like, that's amazing. I got to my black belt second dan in Aikido.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the best things I ever did. I couldn't imagine ever having not done that. And well, yeah, I didn't get to serve, which was incredibly disappointing. I still feel in myself, I gave it a crack. Gave it a shot, and that's all that matters. In life, you just got to give everything a good go.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, like with the karate, I did it like 20 something years ago when I was living in Sydney. So I was born in Sydney, so I'm from Cogra, but my dad was in the army, so we moved around every like 2-3 years. So I think it would have been 96, 97. Did karate down. I was living in Willoughby. Did karate down there. Go Kenroo. Did it for around a year. Loved it. And then my dad got posted to Townsville. And then we got up there, and they had no Go Kenroo up there. I'm like, and then just stopped doing it because didn't have it up there. And then life got in the way, and then the army, and then I'm always been big on martial arts. I love martial arts, love martial arts films. I just love the discipline. I hate fighting. I was bullied a lot, but I hate violence. But at the same time, if someone comes at my family or my friends, I won't hold back. But I always liked it because I had a bit of anger issues when I was young. So I liked it when I did the karate, the self-discipline, the self-control.
Yep.
which I really love. So I've been meaning to get back into it. I've been saying it for probably 5 years. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I think it was around a week ago. I'm like, stuff it. I'm doing it. I looked it up and they'll go kangaroo in Toowoomba. I'm like, done. So I start on Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So chefing, quite funny. You said chefing because I'm actually a qualified chef myself before I joined the army.
Oh, look at that.
And so my dad was a chef in the army. So I grew up around the kitchen. My uncle's a big chef. So at the time, I still love cooking. I got tired of the job. I worked in some bad workplace where everyone was in it for themselves and throwing everyone else under the bus, and it was just really bad work area. So I stepped away from chefing. But so when you were saying 90 to 100-hour weeks, it's can get crazy, and that can also affect your mental health also. So if you're already dealing with other stuff, and then it's like a double-ended sword. One, it's good because it keeps your mind busy. You focus on the task, but then at the end of the day, it can run you too thin because you're overworking. Did you find that at all?
Yeah, that was a big problem. Like obviously, in the middle of service or big rush periods like Christmas and stuff like that, it's amazing because you don't have time to stop and think about anything. You just got to do, which is great. I love that kind of work. I loved pushing myself and being creative. But it was always downtime. That was the worst for everyone. A lot of the chefs that I worked with that all had really bad mental health issues. A lot of them had been divorced and stuff like that because it's just the high amount of hours you do. Obviously you're not earning a lot of money in a kitchen either, which is bad. We're one of the lowest paid industries in the world essentially. And so you go through a busy service, and the end of the night, then everyone sort of starts swapping war stories essentially, and sort of bringing up troubles and stuff like that they're having at home with whether it be the kids or the wife or divorce or something like that. And it doesn't help. I was been in quite a few very bad domestic violence relationships over the years. I've been cheated on quite a few times just from working insane hours and stuff like that. And when it gets turned on you, it definitely does bring your mental health back down into the depths again. Like I said, as you did say, it is very much a double-edged sword. Like you got great work ethic, great people to work with, amazing industry, especially when you're pumping out good quality food. You got good guys around you. But yeah, in the same instance, there are a lot of really, really bad places that do take advantage of you. They do treat you really, really badly. Don't pay you right, and yeah, it can definitely lead you down some very suicidal routes, as I've learned with a few of the chefs I've worked with.
Yeah, so true. But so we want to touch on how you got talking with the other chefs, and you find out they've done gone down some dark roads, and how did that feel like? Did you, once you heard their stories, were you able to open up to them about your struggles and lean on each other?
Yeah, it was really good. It was almost like a random kind of almost broken brotherhood, as we called it. Essentially, when I first got into the industry, my boss was like, look, he goes, I'll paint it to you straight. In this industry, we all come from very broken homes and very bad past. That's why we can survive in this kind of industry, because it is an industry that isn't, I'm not going to say it's not for the weak, but it's not for the weak-willed, essentially. Unless you've been through some really bad stuff in your time, you're probably not going to last as a chef just because of how mentally brutal it is. So when, I'm not going to name which chefs were going through these certain things, but when I heard one of my first ever sous chefs I worked with, his wife was very, very sick of his hours that he was working. So she divorced him, took the house, both the cars, and doesn't let him see his kids. And then he committed suicide about 2 or 3 years after that.
Oh.
My old head chef, he was the same. Him and his wife got divorced 2 or 3 times in the time span that I knew him. That was all within about 6 years. you know, and so you do come into work and you've got each other's backs through thick and thin kind of thing. Like, you know, no one could stab you in the back at all, because if you talk bad about one guy, then you've got the rest of the guys there to back you up. You know, but in saying that, chefs are also very well renowned for doing a lot of naughty drugs and getting belligerently drunk and whatnot. And, so, you know, it's definitely one of those industries where, while you do have people to lean on and have that camaraderie, it can also be a bad form of camaraderie. Obviously, if you're not working in the right kitchens, you know, where cocaine's a huge issue. You know, drinking on the job. There are still very old chefs that don't mind pulling you into a dark area where there's no cameras and giving you a good beating as an apprentice. You know, which I experienced many times as an apprentice. I've had my nose broken by a chef before. I've had plates thrown at me. I've had hot oil flicked at me before. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff, man. You know, it's an industry full of characters. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, so, and that's, see, when I was cooking, that's all I had. That's all I saw. That's why I hate it, and I can't even picture me ever working in the kitchen again. I do my wonders upstairs in my kitchen. I love cooking still. I didn't do it for long. I only did it for probably 2-3 years. But I've done a bit of everything. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So security guard, like you're saying, security guard. I did 2 years as a security guard after I quit chefing, and before I joined the army. So because I joined the Navy first as a chef back in 2004 when I first got out of school. So I was 18 years old. Joined as a Navy, got kicked out of the Navy halfway through my cook course. So I did my basic and went to cook course. Got medical discharge for sleepwalking. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she rang my captain and told him that I was sleepwalking. In the Navy, that's an automatic discharge because you can't be out on a boat if you're a sleepwalker. So I left there, did some cooking at a mine up on Grid Island in the Northern Territory, part of the BHP Bulletin. Did that there. Then went to Townsville, became a labourer there because I got sick of cooking. Labourer, did my security course, did security for Chubb security for 1.5 years, then did another half a year of bouncer, so working at the nightclubs and pubs, and then I joined the army. So I've been a bit over, but security guard's a pretty fun job, and yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. So have you finished your course?
No, so I've signed up to do the course. Currently with the coronavirus and all that kind of stuff still essentially looming, the courses aren't running at the moment. But once they're through, I've got my my security certificate, dog handling, and firearms training.
Okay, yep. So you're going Cert 4, correct? Cert 4?
Yes, Cert 4, yeah.
Yeah,
looking to go for armor guard for a while. Do that for a couple of years, and then do some more extensive training. Go into being a body man essentially.
Yep, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I did a Cert 3, so no weapons, just the basic security guard. But I actually loved it, and you know, it was a bit similar to what you dealt with, like with what you're saying about with the kitchens. You know, if you're in the wrong crowd, a lot of drugs, a lot of alcohol. I was quite lucky with Chubb. The guy that ran the Chubb in Townsville, he was actually ex-military, so him and me got along like a house on fire. And yeah, I did really well working for him until my breakup with that girlfriend, which was a very bad relationship, very abusive for me. So once I got out of that, I kind of got on the alcohol and lost my job at Chubb. But at the same time, I knew that was coming because I knew I fucked up. And
Yeah.
I didn't hold any grudges when he fired me. I'm like, I knew this was coming, apologized to him. And that's when I became a bouncer. And, you know, I love bouncing, you know, I love being a security guard at a nightclub or pub, had so much fun. Single, you know, picking up a lot of women, a lot of alcohol. Never did drugs. I did marijuana when I was a kid, but at this time, I don't never did drugs, but got on the alcohol pretty bad after work, drinking, before work, drinking. Um, got to a stage where there was a big fight. And it started off with a one-on-one fight. We broke that up, and then another fight started like 50 meters away. We broke that up, and then another fight started, and then it was just ended up being a 50-on-50 fight. And the
Wow.
club I was doing it, which is the Criterion up in Townsville, is away from all the other pubs and clubs by like nearly a kilometre. So we radioed for help, radioed the cops for help, but by the time they got there, it was just chaotic. So we threw everything out. We were throwing punches. It was pretty much survived. There was, it was getting pretty serious. Nearly got my knee broken. And that was kind of my wake-up call. And I'm like, no, I can't do this now. This is getting too dangerous. Not just, you know, fighting. I didn't care about that, but what I was putting myself through, all the drinking, you know, all that. I was trying to get back into the army and this wasn't helping. So I quit it. And then around 2 months later, I joined the army and, yeah, got my life back on track. So, yeah, so everything you're saying, I'm sitting here like, what? This sounds so familiar. It's just like everything you're saying, I'm relating because, you know, I haven't gone through the shit you have, but, you know, all the jobs and everything, I'm like, done that, yet done that, fucking done that. It's pretty amazing. It's just out of the blue. I'm like, we've been talking for 2 months and, you know, we talk a bit about, you know, all the beard stuff and, you know, we got our clan, you know, we were talking, we just talk shit, but never really sat down and actually got to know as well as we are now. And it's pretty amazing. And I'm glad I have met you, Jarrad. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, same here with you, man. Like it's crazy when you think, you know, all our little motley crew that we've got going on over the TBS, we all just came in month or two ago, and all of a sudden now we're this massive brotherhood where, you know, you can't really mess with one of us without all of us coming onto your tail.
Yeah.
You know, they're all a good bunch, definitely all really, really good bunch of blokes though. All helping each other out, especially through tough times.
Yeah, and you know that's a big thing, and that's what I've been trying to say. Like one of my main messages is that we can't do this by ourselves. We need to surround ourselves with a support network, whether it is professional help, GP, psychiatrists, psychologists, counsellors, or it's just a bunch of blokes all over the world talking on Instagram and Facebook and just taking shit. Like I talk to you guys more than I talk to anyone else. Like I got so many friends and family in Australia, you know, that I can message, and I still message them here and there, but you know, I talk to you boys daily. Like I wake up, I make a coffee, I go outside, roll a smoke, straight onto Discord, go follow, catch up on all the Instagram posts and the chats, and then start chatting. Like within the first half an hour of my day, I'm talking to people.
Yeah, I did. My wife doesn't like it. She's like, you know, you talk to those guys more than you talk to me. It is what it is, you know. I can't help it.
Yeah, no, but it is good, and you know, I've found that you know we all lean on each other. You know, if someone's having a bad day, or they're having an argument with their parents or argument with their partner, you know, it's an outlet to talk about our problems and not feel like we're being judged. And I think everyone
definitely
needs that.
Yeah, 100%. You know, especially like being, you know, just or not even being like young men, just being men in general. As I said, we never really taught from a young age that you should have a group of guys that you lean on and talk to and go to for support kind of thing. You're going to taught to just, shelve it and act like a man, as they say. And it has been very, very detrimental to a lot of men, as we've obviously seen, especially over the current year with all the crazy shenanigans going on all over the world. That's why I think like these groups, like especially the ambassadorship program, are amazing for men to just get together, talk to each other about problems, positive like experiences, or even find hobbies that they both have in common. Like out of our group, we started a gaming channel. You've got guys that now meet up and go on fishing trips, and we've got martial arts web seminars and all the good stuff. We've got several podcasts going on now. It's absolutely insane, but yeah, amazing at the same time.
Yeah, it is. And we're part of the beer struggle, and I don't think we talk much about beer struggle. Like we talk about here and there, and we promote it because it is a great company and great products, and we all use them and thing. But even the big people behind the beer struggle, they from day one when we joined, they don't say, look, this is what you are. You're an ambassador for the beer struggle. You will be pushing our products. You'll be doing this. It's like, look, we're here to help you grow. And then while you're growing yourself and your niche, just throw in a couple of posts here and there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And sorry, you go.
Okay. Yeah, no, it is absolutely awesome. And I noticed biggest thing when we first got into the beer struggle was none of the big guys that were running the company and the Viking masters like Espen, Thor, and Jake the Viking and whatnot. None of them spoke down to anybody. First thing they said was like, all right, we're going to host live streams over a couple of weeks and tell you how we did what we did, how we grew, and how you can grow, kind of thing. We're all friends and we're all brothers. We're a brotherhood first and a company second, essentially. Which I don't think you find in many other companies you're going to work for or ambassador for.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And like I even, I've had private messages from some of the masters like Dan's Beard and, all that. They're always happy to help us little people. Like they, got a couple of 100,000 of followers and subscribers and, they're giving their time, like you said, they do seminars on Facebook Live for us, for personally, like privately for us, to help us grow as a person and as a, what we want from the channel. Like for me, it's everything I do is around mental health. It's big for me that I want to spread the thing and get people like yourself and other people that, can come out and start talking, because that's how we change. Is to start showing the world that it does not make us weak and we can talk. And I put beard struggle here and there because my beard is part of my recovery. Like I started growing my beard when I first got diagnosed with PTSD and all that in the army, and I was getting out. I was getting medical discharge, so it was a mask for me. I had so much trouble inside, and I was taught, don't talk about your feelings, bottle it up. Some people thought I was making it up, like what we call in the army malingerers, so a linger. You make stuff up to get our stuff. So I put that mask on to cover my battle within myself. And now it's a part of me. And so, but it helps because with mental health, I don't know about for you, but like for me, I felt that I had no control. So I didn't have control over my mind. I didn't have control over my life. All the plans I had for the military was blown out of the water. Everything was out of my control. But my beard was one thing that I could control, and only me. If I wanted to shave it off, I shaved it off. If I wanted to grow it, I grew it. That it was too long with the OCD. I don't have massive OCD. I do have a little bit of OCD, especially workplace and like my clothes. Like they got to hang a certain way. If they're
Yeah.
backwards, I lose it. It's just, it has to be. But yeah, it was something that I can control. So that's why I got into the beard struggle. I'm like, look, I need to do something. I love my beard. I need some product. Let's give these guys a go. And I haven't looked back, man. This is awesome. I've just grown. Last 2 months, 2.5 months since I've joined. It's probably been the best 2.5 months in like 5 years.
Yeah, same here for me, man. Absolutely. You know, like when I was going through the worst part of my mental health battle, you know, I'm for anyone that doesn't know, I've been a Norse pagan since I was 2 years old. You know, raised in the old ways by my grandfather and everything. And when I got to 18, 19, I lost complete faith in all my gods kind of thing. I thought they'd abandoned me altogether because it felt like I had, as you said, no control over my mind. I'd lost my job. You know, it felt like the whole world was out to get you and was just trying to put you down, essentially telling you were garbage and that you were nothing. And, you know, and then come along, I've joined the beard struggle and actually decided to grow my beard out, which, you know, you never think that, you know, something, you know, hair that you grow on your face could be such a huge boost to your confidence just randomly out of nowhere. You know, like it made me feel a lot more confident in myself, helped me pick my, like, you know, sort of puff my chest out a little bit and start being like, no, I'm a good guy. I'm not perfect. You know, I definitely had struggles in life, but, you know, who gives a shit? Let's give it a crack and just go nuts, more or less. You know, like the beard struggle, they've been the best group I think I've ever joined in my life. I think I've noticed more positive in my life over the last 2-3 months being with these guys than I have in a very, very long time.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, and I don't see it stopping. It's just going to get bigger and better. And now we've got these clans coming out. I'm waiting for the Australian clan. So I'm pretty sure. So American one gets done tomorrow. It was meant to get done today. It's getting done tomorrow. And then I think it's us in Canada next.
Yes, so I believe from what one of the guys was saying was, I think it's US comes out tomorrow, and I think Canada gets released around the same time.
Yeah,
I believe, because essentially I'm not gonna annoy all the Americans say you're the same country, but you're close enough, all right?
Hey, you're the same country, guys.
Just throw that out there, and then I think, you know, us boys from down under, we get done last.
Yeah, that's all right. By the time it gets to us, I'll have fixed all the bugs, and the nails will just be so smooth and go straight into it. So
we gotta save the best for last.
Yeah, that's it. I'm probably gonna get some hate from the brothers from if they watch this. And hey, if you are watching, the boys, we love you. But nah, it's good. And so, how you been going lately, like with mental health, like with the coronavirus? And I don't know how bad it's been down in Sydney. Are you still in Sydney? I should ask that before.
So I live up in the mid-north coast at the moment, up near Port Macquarie.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up in Sydney originally, so I originally started out in Ingleburn. Yeah. And then went out to Narrabri, and then up to Alice Springs, then down to Perth, then to Adelaide, then to Melbourne, back to Sydney. Now I'm up here. Been all over the place. It's been great. But yeah, no, I'd say with the coronavirus, it's definitely been really, really hard, you know, not being able to go outside and do the things that we really enjoy. Like, I enjoy getting out and doing gardening, going with my son to the park and all that kind of stuff. And not being able to do that has definitely been incredibly hard. Being stuck at home makes you feel like you're in a rut. Almost essentially feels like you're almost being closed off from yourself in a sense. So it definitely was a massive struggle. But since going and getting my diagnosis with autism and ADHD, that answered so many questions of, you know, my teenage years and my young adult life, and having, you know, so many learning difficulties. So when I was at school, and you know, or any kind of theory work, I'm not good at. If you want me to do something, show me how to do it, and I'll do it. I'm hands-on. I don't like reading about it. Don't care. But yeah, no, it's definitely it's been a struggle. But hopefully they start lifting all these restrictions and these borders and stuff like that, so we can start organising some good meetups and all that kind of stuff. Because we have a few boys, here in Australia. We've got you, we got Mensky as well. He's
Yeah,
keen to
he's in
get together and
Brisbane. Yeah.
do some photo shoots and stuff like that. So that'll be absolutely awesome. Um, yeah. What about yourself, man? How you been going with all this lockdown and?
Yeah, I've been pretty good actually. Like the wife's still been working because she works for Queensland Health, so in accounts payable. So she's just been working from home from a laptop. But I moved to Toowoomba 2 years ago, and then nearly 18 months ago, I was able to buy a property in Murphy's Creek, so just bottom of Toowoomba, so around an hour and a half from Brisbane. And I live on 7.5 acres. Like, I can't throw a base. Like, I'm a baseball player, so I got a strong arm of throwing, and I can't hit a neighbor house from my house with a baseball. So I've been practicing social distancing for like the last 18 months. So, and we've been pretty good down at Murphy's Creek. We've got a really good community. Our pub's shut, but we've been trying to get behind them and, do takeaways and stuff from them. But we haven't had one case of coronavirus here, some up in Toowoomba, but, we've just been waiting. But, I've been really throwing myself into these videos and, on Instagram and, growing my brand of Two Wolves because I wanted to do something. And this reason I became a medic was I've always been the one to always help someone out, no matter how bad my life has been, no matter how bad rut. If a mate always rings me and go, "I need your hand," I'm there without a doubt. I've always tried to help people, and so I needed that other. I knew, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like outlet.
Outlet, but I need a mission. So in the army, I had a mission. I was a medic. I knew my job. I knew what I needed to do. Since then, I'm still not allowed to work because of my mental health through the military. So I'm on a pension. So that's been good. I get my pension no matter what happens. But I've been getting to a stage where I've needed to do something. And, I think a lot of people are saying this coronavirus and a lot of bad things, and a lot of bad things have happened, and there's other bad things that have been happening, like in America with the riots and, all that stuff. But for me, this coronavirus actually has done wonders for me. Like, it kicked me into gear. Like, if it wasn't for the coronavirus and stuff, I probably wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have joined the beard struggle, or I probably wouldn't have got into my YouTube and my Instagram. So, for me, that was a kick in my ass to go, okay, we are stuck at home, but I need to start doing something. My mental health is getting better. I need to do something. What can I do? And I think it was like a week into the coronavirus is when I saw the ad for the beard struggle. Would you like to be an ambassador? And I looked into it, spoke to the wife, and went, shit. Worst thing is, if it doesn't work out, I bought some products that I'm going to use anyway. Because that was the great thing about the beard struggle. You didn't have to buy into it. Like, you became an ambassador once you bought some products for yourself. That's when you got the codes and all that. So I was already wanting to buy products. So it was to me, it was a win-win situation. I either, do well and I can get into Instagram and YouTube, or it doesn't work out and haven't lost anything. So for me, since this year, it's been really good for myself. And, I hope now Queensland's restrictions are lifting already. We can travel anywhere in Queensland now. There's no restriction in travel. Our pubs are open up. Our restaurants are open up for limited amount of people. So my goal now is to, once now all these restrictions are going slowly get back to normal, is for me to still have that passion and that drive to keep doing what I'm doing now.
That's 100%, man. That's really awesome. Like, it's good that you've got like it's nice having definitely having a guy in the beach struggle that focuses so much on mental health, because it's not something that we do see, which is a problem I think for young men, especially, or I keep saying young men. We're young men. For men in general, is we don't have a lot of outlets for our mental health, or for just generally speaking up about things and being accepted for that kind of thing. The rest of society is pretty well happy to use you as disposable income, more or less. So having guys like you focus on mental health, and we've got Mitch who focuses on eating well, and and fitness. We've got a lot of fitness guys. Philip as well. He's also really huge with the gains. We got Black Belt who's doing instructional Zoom videos for learning how to do jiu-jitsu, which is amazing. Haven't quite found my niche yet, but I'm sure we'll get there at some point. No, it's been good. I've been able to come on here, share a story, hopefully open people's eyes up and help them come forward and feel comfortable in talking about their mental health struggles and their battles. I know that's not something that you should be ashamed of, because it's definitely not something you should be ashamed of, is your mental health.
No, you shouldn't. Excuse me. And I think your story, because it is so full of how do I put this nicely? I'm not going to put it nicely. You've been to fucking hell. You had a place. You were renting a place in hell since you were 7 years old, or even before that. And it's probably one of the worst stories I've ever heard. I know mates from military that been to war and been through hell themselves in their own way. But what you've gone through and for how long you've gone through, man, and you are still here. You're still here, and to tell your story. And I hope if someone's watching this, and I don't care. All I care is one person gets something from this. And I hope that one person can sit there, listen to your story and go, holy shit, I can relate to that. I need to do something about it. And, you said, you tried to commit suicide 4 times. 4 times. And you haven't succeeded. To me, I'm a very faithful person. Like, I believe in faith. I haven't worked out exactly what faith it is, and if my parents are watching this, I'm probably gonna get a call because I was raised Christian, Roman Catholic, and it just doesn't sit right to me at the moment. And I'm getting into more of the Norse mythology. I relate to it a bit better, but I see this as a sign. You try to commit suicide 4 times. Once you died for 2 minutes on the table, and you're still here talking to me about your story. So to me, that means that you are not ready to move on from this world. You are not ready for Valhalla. You are still here. And to me, I think it's to tell your story. Your story is not ending yet. But I think you're in moving in the right direction. And, with your help, hopefully we can, change the world and change the mindset and the stigma around mental health. And like you said, men get taught not to talk about it, which is bullshit. A load of crap.
Yeah.
Like my son's 3 years old. He'll be 4 in September. I tell him about my mental health. Like, I put it in PG format, so I don't tell him everything, but he knows that I'm not well in my head, that I have to go see a head doctor. If I get angry, as soon as I calm down, if I get angry because one of my things with my PTSD is I get irritated and I'll just yell. Everything will just make me angry. I haven't got violent. It's just I just yell. That's just one of my things. And you know, my son does cop that. He's 3. His job is to push my buttons.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, that's like me. That's like me as well, man. Like same with my PTSD. I get incredibly irritable randomly out of nowhere, and you know I do it all the time by accident. You know, I've yelled at my son. He's 10 months old. I've yelled at my son before. I've yelled at my wife before, and immediately after I calm down, I'm just like, oh, now I feel like an ass. You know, I've done something stupid. You don't mean to do it. Like that's the thing. You know, there's no ill or bad intention behind it. You know, you're not going out to maliciously hurt anybody. Um, but yeah, like hopefully through like videos like this, like you're doing now, people get the message. Like take it from someone who's actually died for 2 minutes and come back. There's no like as much as at the time it seems like it's a good idea, and like you do have no other way out. There's always something better that you can get from life. You know, there's always ways to make it better. Like I never thought back when I finally technically succeeded in my attempts. I never thought I'd get to where I am now. I never thought I'd be married or have a child or be an ambassador for one of the best companies around the world kind of thing, you know. Didn't think I'd be. I didn't think I'd reach 26 years old, but you know, it just take everything as a test, essentially. Like for me, every time something hard comes through my life now, I see it as my God's testing me. Saying, come on, let's see what you do with this. And it's like, no, I'll beat it.
yeah,
I will definitely beat it. You know, I'm gonna come and I'm going to dine with the gods and tell them you didn't beat me.
yeah, nice. And you know, that's a great message. And also, you know, to look back, like for you, you know, you went through hell. So anything that really, to me, like looking onto your story and hearing your story, anything that anyone throws at you from here on out, you've gone through worse.
Yeah,
100%.
and
And you survived. So your I saw a quote, I think it was like a week ago, and it was like, when I'm going through a hard time, I look back at my success rate from all my hard times, and so far I've survived 100%.
yeah,
So, you know, that if anyone out there don't understand what I just said, because sometimes I don't understand what I'm saying, is, you know, if you've gone through so much bad crap like Jarrad has, you know, in the past, and you're still here, that means you're strong enough to get through all that stuff. Yes, it's affected you, and it's a part of you, but your success rate of surviving that crap is 100%, which means whatever's happening right now, you can get through that too. And, you know, that's a great message. And, you know, your story is, I've said it a couple of times, is amazing. I know I hate saying stuff like that, because I think when I say, I'm like, fuck, am I being insensitive? But I mean it in all the best regards, that, you know, yes, it's been hell, but, you know, being able to tell that story and be here is amazing.
you know, like when I told my story to my first ever head chef, he just looked at me really bluntly with his stone face and just said, "Fucking hell, rightio, okay, you've been through some shit, awesome." You know, and that's it. You know, as I now say to everyone, you know, every time you go through something hard in life, just think of it as a battle. And you're not going to go into a battle, you know, especially if you're a competitive person, you're not going into a battle with the intent of losing, are you? No, you're going to fight through it, get through it, and everything's going to be amazing. It's going to be a good time. There's no point in just going into a battle thinking I'm going to lose, because you don't do that.
Yeah, no, you don't. And, you know, that battle too, it is all that mindset. And there's another quote, because I've been getting my fitness too, because I was getting really overweight, and I had to change it. So been watching motivation, and there's one, I can't remember the guy's name, but he says, in a war, if your army has to take an island, what's the best way to take that island? is when you get there, burn the boat. So you have to win that battle.
Yeah.
So if you go into a battle thinking, oh, if I lose this, I can just retreat, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And, you know, that I heard that and just went, oh, that's amazing, because, you know, it's all in that mindset, especially with mental health, especially with PTSD and all that. Our mind is our battle, that we have to train that daily. So when those bad days happen, that we can go, hey, this is nothing. Yes, it's going to be bad for a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. But, you know, if we train up and use our outlets and, you know, talk like we are talking and spread awareness that, you know, we can get through these bad days.
Yeah, 100%, man. You know, it's everyone should go into life with the mentality that, you know, they can get through it and they're going to come out stronger in the end, as it is, you know. Like one of my favorite quotes is like, the wolf standing on the hill is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the hill. So you've always got to be that wolf climbing, trying to go higher, trying to do better. Because if you're trying to do the better things and be a better person, then, you know, you're doing a lot better than the people that are sitting around making excuses for themselves, saying, oh, I've got depression, I can't do anything, I can't work a job. You know, you don't want to be like that. You know, you want to be that message to people that says, you know, yeah, I've got mental health, but doesn't mean I'm a bad person, doesn't mean I'm weak.
No.
Just means I have to fight 50% harder than everyone else does, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's I got a smile on my face, and I hope people don't think I'm insensitive, like I said before. But, you know, you and me are so much alike. It is fucking crazy. Like everything you be saying, I'm just like, what? What's up?
It's a little bit uncanny.
But like you said there, like, you know, you want to keep moving and, you know, going on to another quote. Like, I think we're just going quote for quote here. But Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, like, I grew up WWE. Fucking love that shit. No, it's fake. And what I tell people is I watch it like women watch Neighbours. I know it's fucking fake, but it's fucking entertainment. But, you know, watch him come through WWE, and now he's one of the best action superstars, movie stars of his generation. You know, he always talked when he was coming up through WWE about talking to Vince McMahon, and, you know, always wanting to push that limit, you know, get to that height, but grab that bar, that brass ring, and then take it to a new height. And he always says, just because it has never been done doesn't mean it can't be done.
Oh yeah, that's a brilliant quote. Like, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, absolute amazing guy. Like, he's achieved so much in his career. You know, like similar to The Rock, but also not so much, is Rocky Balboa. I've always used him as an idol personally, because when he first started, he couldn't act because they said that you can't speak, no one can understand the thing that you say. And what ended up happening, that ended up being the biggest thing in his career. People loved how dopey he sounded in his movies. You know, especially like Rocky Balboa. Like, my favorite quote of all time is, you know, life isn't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and then keep moving forward. You know, that's how winning's done.
Rocky Balboa to his son. Fucking love the Rockies, man. Love him. Except for number 5. I wasn't a big fan of number 5.
Yeah, no, number 5 was shit. That was a terrible movie. But the rest of them, amazing movies, absolutely great movies. You know, he's always been an underdog. He's always been, you know, that shit kicker. But he trained his ass off, and, you know, keeps beating the best of the best. So,
and that's
what they can do it. You got no excuses now.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do up here.
That's it.
So before we finish up, this has been going on for a while, and I've been loving it. What's one thing you want to tell? What one final message that you want to pass on to my viewers?
Last final message, I'd say, you know, if you're going to beat your mental health, my number one thing would just be to find that outlet. You know, I found my outlet, which was martial arts to begin with, and then I found cooking. And, you know, you find the more mental struggles you go through with an outlet, if you can be creative, you know, turn that negative energy into a positive energy, then that's going to do your whole world of good. And now I've got my son. You know, when it came to my son, I decided, I'm going to start eating healthy. I'm going to start hitting the gym again, and I want to be like the best man possibly that I can ever be for my son, because he's the next generation. He doesn't have to pay. He shouldn't have to pay for my problems that I've had in my life. So, the best thing is just to find that outlet and always find something that you can push towards. Don't ever let yourself stay stagnant, because that's how your mental health will creep back up onto you again, start to take control over your head. Find that outlet and just push at it, get better at it, get better at it, get better at it. Just always think to yourself, I'm going to be the absolute best in this one thing that I love most in my life. Whether that be axe throwing, gardening. I know some guys that like to knit and do stuff like that. If you're a big burly man that loves to knit, man, you knit. Start a Etsy store or something like that. Just find something that you love and make something out of it.
Yeah, awesome. Great message, Jarrad. And, thank you for sharing and coming on and having a chat with me. I've actually really enjoyed it. It's been really enjoyable, but I got a lot out of it for myself too. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. That was really, really good.
Cool. So that's it, guys. I'll have everything to follow Jarrad on Instagram and everything down below. And, hope someone out there can take something from this video and, find their outlet. So until next time, guys, stay safe and look after each other.